Hello, everyone. Welcome again. And oh my gosh, I am just almost beyond words. I am just so grateful to share just my amazing guest with you today. It's going to be fantastic. We have with us Jane Ubell-Meyer. She is the founder of Bedside Reading, the world's leader in placing and promoting books and authors in five-star luxury hotels, the Hamptons, and the media. This year, Jane celebrates 21 years of placing books in the Hamptons. Through her companies, Bags and Madison and Aspen, Mulholland, and in 2017, Jane relaunched and rebranded the business, officially launching Bedside Reading, providing authors the opportunity to expand their fan base by placing books, physical books, audiobooks, and eBooks in luxury hotels, creating book marketing events from Aspen to Santa Monica. Jane published her first official Hamptons Booklovers Guide, Bedside Reading, the magazine, which was distributed throughout the hotels in the Hamptons, with subsequent issues distributed by Publishers Weekly and Hollywood Weekly nationwide. She is a former TV film producer. Her credits include GMA, ET, and WSJ TV. She also produced several films. Jane spent a year working with Hearst Magazine's branding and licensing division before creating the award-winning company, Madison and Amp, Mulholland, which was one of the world's leaders in celebrity gifting. The company was known for their excellent commitment to luxury gifting and working with Oscar, Emmy, Grammy winners, and nominees. She produced celebrity gifting lounges in Los Angeles, New York, and Miami for major movie studios and events. She has spent 7 years teaching students the finer elements in how to become an entrepreneur at New York Fashion Institute of Technology. Oh my gosh, Jane, you have such an amazing background. I'm just so happy to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Paula. So thank you for inviting me. First of all, we just got to know each other a little bit, so I'm really excited to see where this relationship can help blossom and help each other and take it to another level. So thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so honored. I would love you to share a little more of your background and anything you'd like to share about that and how that kind of got you with where you're at now.
So thank you. I been thinking a lot about, you wrote a book about happiness and happiness is like the buzzword now. And I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking about how I started. And what I do know is that when I started my career, I started literally, 22, right out of school. I was an intern, and I got an internship at Good Morning America, and I worked my way up to producer. But I remember thinking, how did I get there? Was it luck? Was it fate? Was it happenstance? And if I go back to the roots, this is so incredible. I got to be in TV because when I was in college, I had a very, very, very good friend who I went to Colorado College, which is like the Harvard of the Rockies, and Colorado Springs. And one of my best friends had a girlfriend, and she flew in from New York to Colorado to be with him for the weekend. And it was in that weekend that he realized that he was gay and he wasn't into her. And what happened was that this poor young girl, and I was young, she was crying and crying and crying. And I took her into my dorm room and I consoled her, and I gave her a shoulder to lean on. And I said, her name was Lynn. I said, don't worry, I will take care of you. You'll be fine. We'll get through this together. And I really was authentically there to help her through this traumatic weekend, learning that her boyfriend is gay. So that kindness, that empathy, that moment of me giving was literally the catalyst of what got me into TV. Because in New York, I came to New York after I graduated college, and I had a very short little job for 3 months in working for this producer making TV commercials, and he fired me after 3 months because his girlfriend didn't like me or whatever BS it was. And I was crying. I was walking down the streets on Fifth Avenue crying because I'd just been fired. I'd never been fired before. And this woman bumps into me with her shoulder blade. And it turns out to be that woman that I took care of for the weekend in my dorm room. And she said, "Why are you crying?" And I said, I just got fired. I'd been this great job for 3 months, and his girlfriend didn't like me, and the boss's girlfriend didn't like me. She goes, "Jane, don't worry. I'm going to help you. I want you to come to Good Morning America, and you'll be my intern."
Oh my gosh.
So if you go back to the seed of my career, it was that I was empathetic and kind to this young girl that was crying. And then the next time I see her, like years later, I'm crying and I'm working on Fifth Avenue, literally with tears streaming down my face. And I ended up working for Good Morning America for 4 or 5 years, working my way up the ranks. And then I ended up getting a job at local New York, and I started Regis Philbin's show in New York. And then I got a job with Tom Snyder. I was his writer producer. And then I got a job at Entertainment Tonight, and I moved to California. And I loved LA. I did ET for 4 years. And then I made some movies. I made 3 movies. And then I reconnected with this guy that turned out he's now my husband, and who I dated when I was 24. And I moved back to New York. And I worked for Wall Street Journal TV and so on and so forth. I've had a lovely career. Anyway. But if you go back to the seed of who I am, which is, when we started the conversation, before we started rolling, you said to me, this half hour is really going to be about reinventing yourself. And the truth about reinventing yourself, here's the real truth, is that every job I've had, every career I've had, I reinvented myself based on 2 things. The first thing was why was I changing? That was the big why. I left TV. I started a company called Madison in Mulholland, and I became the #1 celebrity gifting company in the world. And I left that 16-year business because my best friend had passed away and I was bereft. And it was out of the pain and exhaustion. I said, I need to do something that's fulfilling my heart.
Oh.
So I changed what I was doing, and I ended up, creating Bedside Reading from that. But so the key to reinventing yourself is to find out, number one, why are you so miserable that you need to change? Like, what's going on? That's the catalyst. Are you burnt out? Are you bereft? Like I was in deep grieving. I'm still grieving, and it's been, quite a 16 years since she passed away. I'm still grieving, but that's the process. So you find out why you want to change. Like, what is the catalyst to make a shift and a change? And the second most important thing is to pay attention to your body. And I'll tell you what I mean. My dad once told me a very funny thing that kind of stayed with me my whole life. He said, it's not only important to understand when something's wrong, like you'll feel it in your tummy, or there's some feeling inside of you, there's something off, but it's more important to act on it. If you don't act and take action to fix, change, shift, pivot on what's bothering you, then that is a disservice to yourself. So when it was time to shift, pivot, change, reinvent yourself, whatever you want to say, I recognized that my body was really telling me, you got to stop. You got to stop doing what you're doing, and you got to do something else that's going to elevate your vibrational level, elevate yourself so that you're operating at a level of higher frequency. And I know that sounds very woo-woo California, but I don't care. We all know everybody has energy, and our jobs as human beings is to try to elevate the energetic levels of other people around us. So when you talk about reinventing yourself, I've had, people said, oh, Jane, you've had so many careers. you know what? I was smart enough to keep shifting and changing while my body was changing, while I was changing. I didn't get stuck being labeled a therapist, a writer, a this, a that, whatever that is. People have labels, an engineer, a doctor, whatever, lawyer. I didn't get stuck in that. I was okay to shift and move on. And I don't want to say take chances, but because I don't ever believe that you're taking chances. I believe that you're being creative enough to expand opportunities. Sometimes not all opportunities work out, and that's okay. Not a problem. But I think that when you are thinking about how to reinvent yourself, you have to think about first, what are you stopping internally? What is then going to, once you figure out, oh, I got to stop this because it's making me sick or mentally or draining or emotionally, and which goes for relationships too, as well, whether it's male, female, or whether it's, parental or siblings, when stuff happens, you got to change things. And then you got to take the next step to figure out, okay, what's going to make me happy again? When I was back in my 20s, I went to see a play in New York City called Torch Song Trilogy. And it was written by Harvey Fierstein. And there was a line in the play, and the line went like this: I will not allow anybody in my life that doesn't love me or respect me. That's pretty powerful. So when you're ready to make changes, or when you're thinking about it, think about this in the broadest sense. If I've taken a vow, by the way, in my life, I will not allow anybody in my life that doesn't love me or respect me. And I've had family members that did not love me or respect me. And I've said, we are not meant to be together right now because you do not love me or respect me right now. I'm not saying forever, just right now, you're not loving me and respecting me. So it doesn't work for me. So we have to take a position that I'm going to make that declaration, because I need to soar. I need to feel good. I need to operate at my highest level. And when there's somebody in the background that's putting me down, or that doesn't love me, or doesn't want to be my champion, then not everybody has to be Jane Ubell's champion. That's not what that's about. But you need to surround yourself with people that elevate you. So we all know when there's burnout, or when it's time to move on and time to reinvent yourself. And then once we figure out that we can that maybe it's time, then we take another step, which is to identify things in life that really freaking we love. Doesn't forget about the money. Forget about money, because money will be there or it won't be there. You just have to move towards things that really fill your soul.
Yes.
And what fills my soul is, like in my job at Bedside Reading. So Bedside Reading, just to tell the audience, we place books by the bedsides in luxury hotels, and I help authors get to another level in many, many different ways. We do it by placing them in the media. We do it with author events. We do an incredible mastermind group. We do great marketing campaigns. We really have a lot of fun. And what makes my heart spark is coming up with ingenious ideas that nobody ever thought of to get books out there to another level. And that's my genius. And when I'm playing at that high level, that's fulfilling my soul. That makes me super happy. Look, there's a guy that was the head of executive publisher of the trade magazine in the industry. And he said, oh, Jane, anybody can put books in hotels. And I said, you're right. But if you want to work with the housekeeping and the people and get them photographed and get them placed on social media and making sure everything's there and it's all the little elements and levels that you've got to do at a hotel, because placing a book in a hotel means nothing unless other things happen, unless there's a follow through with social media or newsletters or other media, because anybody could put a book in a book room, in a hotel room. It doesn't mean anything. So when somebody in the industry says, well, Jane, anybody can do it, I go, yeah, but they're not doing it this way, and the way we do it. And when I know that I can take that on and I get all my creativity, and one of the things that he did was try to knock me down. It spurred me on to be better than I ever was, because
Yes.
I was going to prove to him that this is not a fly-by-night operation. This is my 7th year, and we're growing and growing and growing. And we just built a library at the Conrad Hilton downtown New York, which is a 5-star luxury hotel. We just were able to launch, books by the poolside all summer long at famous hotels so that guests can read by the poolside. We just launched a incredible campaign to sell books to the book gift box subscription world. That's something new and cool and weird and interesting, and it's already a big wow, and it's just started. So when I know that all the things that I'm doing, look, this is a reinvention. How many careers have I had? I've been a TV producer. Then I was a movie producer because I made 3 movies. Then I came back and I did PR, another TV producer. Then I did PR for a while. Then I had a company called Bags, and where we place gifts and products on the Hampton jitneys, the buses that go to New York. Then I developed Madison and Mulholland. And then I stopped that in 2017, and then I built Bedside Reading. And I used to be embarrassed, Paula, embarrassed that somebody says, okay, Jane, what are you doing now? Like as if there was shame in changing the course of my life and career. Shame. Or the way people framed it, like, oh, Jane, you can't stick to one thing. Well, I had something for 16 years, 25 years as a producer, now 7 years. That's pretty good track record. But I know that to be authentic and to be authentically happy internally and soul loving, I've got to do what makes my soul happy.
Yes. Yes. You're following a passion. You have a passion and a gift of helping others. And so in creating these new businesses and outlets, you're just growing in that, Jane. And that's a beautiful thing for us to do.
And you know what? Not everything I do is so successful. Not every idea is a 5-star idea. But if you don't take action when it walks up to you or you walk up to it, you will be sorry in the morning that you've missed that opportunity. Yes. So, and not everything has to be thought out to the nth degree with level, layer. It has to be part of, risk taking, but with the good intent, with the right intention, and with, try it because it might surprise you. Try it with that kind of, thinking.
Try it. Take the steps. Reinvent yourself. I love that, Jane.
Thank you. I feel, I used to teach at FIT. I used to teach students how to be an entrepreneur. First, it started out as how to create a goodie bag business. And what I realized was that I was creating a business. I created an industry literally that did not exist before 2022. I was the first company to monetize the concept of gift bags. And I did that by, I was in PR for a little while after TV. I'll tell you something funny. I just want to go back for a minute. After I did TV, my last job was I was a creator of a show on Wall Street Journal TV called Money, Style, and Power. And the whole station got bought by another company and everybody lost their jobs and it was fine. And I decided I was going to change my career and I was going to give up TV. I was 40 years old. I had enough and I really didn't want to go from job to job. And once I made that decision, I said, you know what? It's okay for me not to be a TV producer because that was my whole identity. I got a call from Oprah's people. And Oprah's people, they were looking to interview me for a senior producer position. And I had just moved to New York to be with this guy who's now my husband. And I said, you know what? So the pinnacle in one's career is Oprah's calling, right? That's number one. Number two, but I said to myself, if I get a job with Oprah, because I probably could have gotten it, I will be stuck like 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. And how can I build a life with this guy and be a good partner if I'm working for these crazy hours. So I turned down the interview. And then I recommended a friend of mine, and she actually got the job. But what I was going to say is sometimes in life, the universe will put up some kind of a mirror or reflection saying, okay, you ready to change jobs, Jane? Here's what we got for you. We've got Oprah here or the unknown. Which way you going? And when I took the unknown and I ended up starting a goodie bag company, I did it by walking, literally. Somebody gave me the idea. It wasn't my idea, to say, why don't you put together gift bags for the Hampton Jitney, the buses that go from New York City to the famous beaches in the Hamptons, products on the buses. I, by myself, walked up and down Madison Avenue. I walked into stores and I said, my name is Jane Ubell, and we're doing a gift bag for the Jitney. And would you like those customers? Because that's who our customers are. Madison Avenue type of people with money going to the Hamptons. And they all said yes. And I ended up starting a great business. And as soon as we launched, the day that we got all the goodie bags together, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had 12-year-olds on my block with picnic tables, sorting and putting together stuff for the goodie bags. We had 500 of them. I after the whole day, I was exhausted. I said to my husband, said, honey, my new husband, because we just got married, he goes, go get your nails done. Just take a break. So I went to the nail salon, King's Nails in Chappaqua, New York. And this woman said, and I started to cry because I was exhausted. And the woman said, why are you crying? And I said, I just launched a company and I'm exhausted. And I just started crying, and we were talking and she said, what do you do? I said, what do you do? And she goes, I'm a writer for the New York Times. And we immediately got a story in the New York Times that afternoon. Or the next day. And so all of a sudden, my whole life changed. Billy Joel's people called me, Sting's people called me, the Central Park Conservancy called me. We did Hollywood, we did Broadway shows, we did the Hamptons, and that whole world was unknown to anybody before, but I figured out how to monetize it. I figured if people paid us a fee, it wasn't a big fee, then we could place the products directly where these people were, and then we could promote it in different magazines. And that's really what I'm doing today, but it's refined. It's really in the world of hotels, but I've shifted because I'm really deep into the lives of my authors. And the weird thing, which is like a side benefit, I didn't even know this was going to happen. I realized my authors, they're home alone writing by themselves. So when they see me coming, it's like I'm like their Jewish mother. I get to hang on to them and take them with me and promote them and cajole them and to hear what I have to say about their stuff and see what else I can do for them. So I've got their backs. And it's weird, but there's certainly a business aspect to it. But if I were in it for the cash, I would not be doing this. Because of all the hours and the time that I spend, it's not even about that.
Oh, Jane, you are just so fantastic. And
thank you.
Thank you for all the lives that you've made a difference in and what you do. Oh my gosh, I could chat with you for an hour.
And Paul, I'm sure that we will.
Yes. We just have a few minutes left. What last message do you want to give everyone before we say goodbye? Even though it's been beautiful messages.
So, thank you. I think the key, there are three things. Number one, you have to promise yourself that you will not allow anybody in your life that doesn't love you or respect you. Number two, if an opportunity walks up to you, and if you do not take action that moment, you will be sorry in the morning. Number three, if you are not feeling high, elevated, joyful in the process, there's something that's off. It's the process. It's not the outcome. I love this. I love sharing and talking and schmoozing and having a good time. That makes me joyful. So you have to look at those three things and see where are you energetically.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that is so powerful. I mean, the process, to have the joy and feel good in the process when you really don't know the outcome.
You
That's
don't.
future, but
Right.
have joy in the process and feel good and be in that high vibration. Oh my goodness.
There's one other thing I want to share that's really important to me. I think it's really important to know what your superpowers are. And I have 3 superpowers. And I think that because I have them, I feel everybody must have something. So if you have a superpower, I think it's time you have to really identify what is your, my superpowers are easy. Parking, I can park anywhere in New York City at any time. 2 is weather. If I go someplace, it's always nice weather, unless, you know, whatever, you know, unforeseen force of God. And the third thing is my superpower is coming up with new creative ideas, a mastermind. That's my superpower. That is my creativity at its highest level.
I love it. Oh,
So what I would recommend everybody is sit down and really think of what are their superpowers.
oh, Jane, thank you so much. Please share with everyone before we say goodbye your website or where they can learn more.
So bedsidereading.com. You can learn everything there. There's a contact page. If you hear me through Paula's podcast, let me know. We have lots of lovely fun things we do. We give away books, we have fun, we do shout outs. I have a great newsletter. So, you know, bedsidereading.com.
Oh, thank you, Jane. Thank you. Love, hugs, and blessings. I'm just, that so
Oh, you're
honored.
so great.
Thank you. Everyone out there, love, hugs, and blessings. So happy to have you with us today.
Thank
Goodbye,
you.
everyone. Thank
Okay,
you,
thank
Jane.
you. Okay, take care.